Hi, welcome back to GCon 360. I'm Dylan Press, Guru, for those who are just turning in. So we're going to see a presentation on Google Apps Creation about automating the grading using Flubaroo. So I think this will be a interesting one, especially for those that are in the education space. Before we get started, I just want a couple slides, just a few things. So as I said, it's GCon 360. I want to give a special thank you to our 5 features, which are AX Smart Sheet by EMC, Switch.co, Virtue. And now without further, also before we actually just mention that there is the cap, which you can access through the grid of your Hangout on it. Should look like 9 boxes, and you click on that, and you can select the app to ask the presentation, which will at the end. So if you click on this app, which should be the yellow, you can see to RAs during this presentation. We're giving away a lot of things during GCon 60. So further ado, here's Brookhouser presenting on the grades.
Thanks, Dylan. I know that there was a little bit of echo for some of our viewers with you, but I don't think I have it. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I want to thank you for tuning in. My name is Kevin Brookhouser. I'm a teacher at York School in Monterey. I'm also the director of technology there and do a lot of training with Google and Google products. I'm also the author of the book, The 20 Time Project, and it's about applying 20% time, Google's 20% time in the classroom setting. So you can look that up. But today we are going to talk specifically about Google Forms and creating assessments and automatically grading those assessments with Flubaroo. So what I'm going to do is start by just sharing my screen. This is usually the best way to go about this. So I'm going to go click on entire screen, share. Now I'm going to open up a new tab. Dylan, can you just confirm that you see my blank tab right now?
Yep, I can see your tab.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so here I am at drive.google.com. And what I'm going to do is create a simple assessment. And let me start by saying that I love technology in education for so many reasons, but for 2 primary reasons. One, we're able to teach richer content, I think, with access to this technology. And 2, it just kind of makes teaching easier, especially the paperwork that's associated with teaching. And this talk is going to be squarely on that second benefit. And I'm going to talk about how you can create assessments, but let the computer do the busy work of grading those assessments. Now, these are primarily going to be multiple choice or fill in the blank assessments. And from a pedagogical standpoint, I don't believe in giving a lot of multiple choice tests and fill in the blank tests. But I do find that they work for more formative assessments. But my big push is on kind of project-based learning and deeper assessments rather than just fill in the blank. But they work really well when you're trying to get a sense of where students are and modify your teaching based on those results. So what I'm going to do is go to my drive, and I'll click New. And then to go to Forms, I'm going to have to go to the More button and click Google Forms. And this is going to allow me to ask a series of questions to my students. Now, since today is the birthday of Ulysses S. Grant, I'm going to make some questions based on him. So I'm just going to pull up the Wikipedia page for Ulysses S. Grant. Go. And here it is, the second option. So let's pull out some trivia so that we can build an assessment. Obviously, you can make your assessment, ask any kind of question that you want. For the automatic grading to work, it really needs to be multiple choice or closed-ended questions when you know exactly what the answer is. All right, so, and I know that there was already a question in the Q&A about open-ended, like essay questions, and obviously you can't automatically grade, but you can still ask them, and you'll just tell the Flubaroo to ignore those, and you can grade those later. So here we go. So this is the form. I'm going to title it ULYSSESS Grant Quiz. And first question we'll ask is, what is Grant's birthday? And the easiest types of questions to create and grade are multiple choice questions, because that limits the different types of answers that students can provide. So let's go with May 6th. And let's see, what was the year? 1869. Wow, wait, I'm totally wrong. Oh, wait, let's see here. Born April 27th, 1822. There we go. So we'll go with May 6th, 1822, April 27th, 1999, April 27th, 1822. Let's make sure we got our facts right there. All right, April 27th, 1822. Let's ask another question. This time we'll make it a fill-in-the-blank question. And so what we'll ask is, what year was he elected to office? So, or elected president. So we'll say that he was probably, let's say, when did he begin? What year did he begin his presidency? So we'll make that 1869. So add, and this is going to be a text-based question, so we can fill in the blank. What year did Grant enter the White House as president? Now, we can't provide any answers because it's a fill in the blank, but we will tell Flubaroo in the future what the correct answer is. And then I'll ask one more question, and we'll say that it is a blank question. Who was buried in, one R, Grant's tomb? And I could make it required to force them to answer something, but I'm not going to do that. And I'll click done. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to first click on view live form. Oh, wait, nope. I've got to ask another question. Add item, text, and I'm going to say name. You should always ask for your students' names. Make that required. And then we also need to ask for an email address. So I'm going to make that required. I'm going to call it email address. I'm going to give you a pro tip right here. Under the advanced settings, you can click on data validation and then text and then email address. And what that's going to do is look for something that looks like an email address. So it's going to look for the @ symbol and probably a domain name of some sort. Although it won't test to see if the email address is valid, it will at least check to make sure it looks like an email address. And the reason I'm asking for an email address is because I want to be able to send the people who take the quiz the results. So now I'm going to go ahead and click View Live Form. And I'm going to take this myself, and I'm going to supply the correct answers, because this is basically going to establish the answer key. Now, you probably have that one student who gets everything correct, and you can just let him or her do that. But I think it's safest to do this. So, oh, I didn't say, what year did Grant enter the White House? Well, let's get that right. 1869, 1869. Who was buried in Grant's tomb? Grant. And I'm asking this question to show you some of the limitations of this. So now I'm going to add, my name is Kevin. My email address is brookhouser@gmail.com. You're free to email me, but please don't spam me. All right, and then I'm going to click submit. So now I've shown you 2 of the 3 parts of any forms. And Google Forms is just an unbelievable tool for collecting data of any type from others. Let's say anytime you feel tempted to email a group of people and have them reply to that email, often it's a lot better to just create a form, because then you don't have to collate all those answers in separate emails. This is also a great way for creating assessments, which is what we're doing right now. So I showed you the form editor, and then I showed you the live form, and that's the form that other people would fill out, and I filled that out myself. And then the third part is the responses, and those all go into a spreadsheet. So I can click on View Responses right here, and now I can see up here are the categories of the questions that I asked are up here. And then in column A is a timestamp of when every submission was submitted. So this is useful. And then you can see here is the data that I collected from myself. Now is the interactive component of this seminar. I'm going to invite you all to take this quiz. Now, before you do, I want to tell you that I am going to be collecting your email addresses. I'm not going to publish your email addresses, but they may show up on my screen briefly. So just be prepared for that. And if you really have a problem with that, then you might not want to participate in that way. But I'm not going to hang on to it very long. So anyway, I'm going to publish this. So a quick way to do that is to create a short link to the form. So what I'm going to do is go to View Live Form. And this is the long link. And if I asked you to type this link into your browser, you would all revolt on me. So I'm going to shorten that. I'm going to go to goo.gl. And goo.gl is Google's URL shortener. So I can paste a long link in here and then click Shorten URL. And now you see the short URL. So I'm going to give you guys 1 minute to type this into a tab of your web browser. You don't need the first part. You don't need the http://. You just need to type this in, goo.gl/, and this is going to be case sensitive, big Z, little h, big P, big J, big P, and the number 8. So I'll do that one more time, goo.gl/big Z, little h, big P, big J, big P, 8. So I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to see if people are now filling out that form. So go ahead and fill out that quiz. And I'm going to ask you to get one of the questions incorrect. While you're filling it out, I'm also going to ask you to fill in what could be a correct answer, but may not be the correct answer. So in Who is Buried in Grant's Tomb, you could put in the word Ulysses, and I can see that submissions are coming in, and that's great news. I can see from the form editor that 2 responses have come in. One is me and one is someone else participating, and thank you for doing that. Oh, we got another participant and another, and hopefully we'll get a few more, and then I'm going to show you some tricks. Oh, we have 7, 8. You can see them just coming right in here. And what I'm going to do now is hide the email address. So let's see, hide this column so that I don't publish a lot of people's email addresses, but we've got answers here. So we see that a lot of people scored the correct answer and a lot of people scored the incorrect answer. So that's exactly what I wanted to do. Oh, they're streaming in now. This is great news. Okay, so there are some ways that I could automate some of the evaluation process without using any add-ons or any scripts. And I want to show you a cool way, and you may find a lot of applications for this. So if I select on column B and I go to Format, and then I click Conditional Formatting, what this will do is, oh, they've changed it on us. This is interesting. So if the text contains, and I'm going to put April 27, 1822. If the text contains April 27th, 1822, I want to change the color of the text to green. And I'm going to click none on that. That's kind of hard to read, so I'm going to make it a dark green. Now I click done here, and now you can see that all of the correct answers are dark green. Now I can add a new rule, and this is only in column B. So let me add another rule. Text does not contain, same thing, April 27th, 1822. And let's go with none on the cell color, but we'll make it red. And I'll click done. And now in this column, rather than having to read every single cell, I can identify simply by looking for colors. And I could do that for anything here on any of these columns. So applying conditional formatting is one pretty fast way to simply figure out what's correct and what's incorrect if you're using this for a quiz. But I want to show you the even more powerful way, and that's by adding an add-on called Flubaroo. Now, add-ons are little programs that work within Google Docs, and anyone can make an add-on using JavaScript and submit it to the add-on gallery. And there are a lot of add-ons available. One of my favorite is Doctopus, which is a great management tool for teachers who use Google Docs, have students submit their projects through Google Docs. But what I'm going to do is click Get Add-ons. And this is what you should do, is take you to the add-on gallery, and you want to look for Flubaroo. Like for me, that came up right up front center, but if you don't see it, you can search for it, Flubaroo, and then there it is, and then you just add it onto your spreadsheet. So it's going to ask you for permission to see this spreadsheet. Now, it doesn't mean that you're giving the creator of Flubaroo access to your Google Drive or to view your email address or any of this stuff, but it does give that specific program access because it needs to be able to see the data, and actually it also needs to be able to send an email to you because it will automatically send the results out. So I'm going to click Accept. And remember that I did collect email addresses, but I've got that hidden right here. So once that's all set, now I've click on add-ons again, and now I've got Flubaroo as a menu item in add-ons. So now what I'm going to do is click Grade Assignment. And it is working. And so now I have to establish step 1. So it says, you just have to read these directions. Please select a grading option for each of the questions in the assignment. Flubaroo has done its best to guess the best option, but you should check the question itself. So how many points am I going to give for Grant's birthday? Well, let's give that 1 point, and we'll give 2 points for entering the year, and then 3 points for answering who was buried in Grant's tomb. So we're going to weigh this question 3 times as much as the first question. And so it did a good job of determining that these were questions that should be graded, and that we're not going to grade these other 2 fields. We're not going to grade the name or the email address. We're going to use those as identifiers. So that's working perfectly. So I'm going to go continue on to step 2. So the step 2 is asking which submission should be used as the answer key. And that is why I took the test myself at the beginning and made sure that I supplied all of the correct answers, because Flubaroo needs to know what are the correct answers in order to determine how everyone else did on the quiz. All right, I click continue. And now it's grading the assignment. And if you look down here, you'll see that it created a new tab in the spreadsheet called grades. Now, I don't know how many submissions I got. Let's see. Oh, I got 75 submissions. And so the grading is complete. Now, I'm going to click OK. So you can see that out of 6 points, you guys averaged 2.6. Not very good, but that's exactly what I asked you to do. So we've got a lot of D's and F's and a couple 100%. In fact, those who got 100% are the only ones who probably were quick on the trigger and didn't hear me ask you to get some incorrect, because I wanted you all to experience what it's like to get a response with both correct answers and incorrect answers. So here's some pretty powerful data that I can analyze to see how see how my students did. And here I can see which questions were answered most consistently. And one thing that I can find is that if all of my students get one of the questions wrong, then that may be not my student's fault. It might be my fault. Maybe it's a poorly worded question, or maybe I need to spend more time on that material. But as I said, I really think that these kinds of things are most useful for formative assessments. So that's where it becomes really valuable. All right, we know where we need to spend our time next. All right, so I've got all of these here. And this is great. But now how do I get these results back to you? So now when I click on Flubaroo again, I can click Email Grades. And so now it's going to ask which question, which field in the form is the email address. And it's the field that's titled email address, obviously. So I can include the list of questions and scores and include the answer key. And here's the message to include in your email. Congratulations on finishing the quiz. Now you know what you need to study for the final exam. Click continue. Now it's working its magic. So while it's doing that, I want to make a pitch for an event, a couple events that, 75 grades were successfully emailed. And you'll probably see those messages show up in your email. So I do want to talk about a couple events that are coming up. If you're interested in Google in education, I'm going to be hosting a really great summit on June 9th and 10th here in Monterey. And it's the EdTech Team Monterey Summit featuring Google for Education. And so I'll be leading that, and there'll be a lot of other great presenters here talking about Google Apps in education, how to create more of these time-saving things. So you can get there by going to ca.gafesummit.com/Monterey. Or you can just contact me and I'll send you a link if you're interested. We're also having another event on June 20th. And that is the Design Agent Institute. And it's for students and teachers who want to create more project-based learning experiences in the classroom. This is a free one-day event here at York School in Monterey, California on June 20th, 2015. And if you go to designagentinstitute.org, you can apply. So I encourage any of you who are interested in project-based learning and can come out to Monterey. And the way that we're looking at this is that one teacher brings a small handful of students to the conference. All right, so let's go back to your email, and and you should have gotten an email with all of your submissions. So that is Google Forms with automatic grades using Flubaroo. So now I will answer any questions that have come up in the Q&A. Let's see here. Is anyone here? Do you think you might be muted, Dylan? No? Because I'm not hearing anything. Oh, there we go. Yep, that's better.
Am I echoing too much?
You are echoing a little bit.
Okay, I'll try and keep this. So what I'm doing right now is I'm turning on the form that you can showcase that, which you out if you to get all the slides from this person emailed to you. There actually wasn't really many slides, so but you all entered to win on all the free gifts. So that is to fill out the form, and into some of the question. hope I'm audible with going. So Shane Hanley made an interesting point that kind of turned into a quick question. So if you check the option, automatically collect the username of the submitter, will that negate the need to have a field where you collect an email address on the form?
Yes, yeah. So the question is, or the comment is a really good one, and I didn't mention it because I was using my personal account that doesn't allow for automatic collection of usernames. But yes, if you have that turned on using a Google for Education account, then you don't need to ask for either the username, the name, or the email, because that's going to be a unique identifier. And it also adds a level of security. So you can set it so that students only submit once, and that way they can also not submit pretending to be someone else.
Okay, great. And then this other question I thought was interesting. Is there any way to make a hybrid form where some of the questions are automatically graded and some long form questions are manually graded in the form? So you could have sort of a combo quiz?
Yeah, now you won't be able to use the automatic grading functionality for those longer answers, obviously, because those are going to vary. But if you do ask paragraph questions, those longer questions, then you'll just have to manually adjust the grades based on that. And there's not a built-in feature where you just enter in a number on the grade feature itself. But you can interpret what it automatically grades and then grade yourself those other questions. But what you do in the form is you just in Flubaroo, when it asks you the different types of questions, you can have it just ignore one of the fields.
That clears that up. So for the next question, we were wondering who maybe didn't get to copy down the URL. If you build a copy URL into the Q&A, or maybe put this into the Google Plus thread under
for
and after.
The quiz?
Exactly.
Yeah, I can do that right now. Let's see. Actually, Dylan, I'm gonna put it in the chat, and if you could put it in there for me. I'm not anywhere where I can enter in the Q&A.
Sure, no problem. I'll just post it under the Google Plus event
right
after we're finished here. So that's to be all the questions we have on grading quizzes with Flubaroo. Some of these questions seem to be more personal questions, not directly related to the presentation.
Right. Now, students don't necessarily need email addresses to use Flubaroo. It can grade it without the email addresses. It's just, you're not going to be able to distribute, obviously, the grades via email if you don't collect email addresses and if students don't have access to an email address.
Okay, that's good to know.
But it doesn't have to be a Gmail address.
Oh, so email address doesn't have to be a Google account, can take the quiz and be graded using Flubaroo.
That's right. Now, they do need an account if you want to do what we were talking about a couple minutes ago, where it was automatically collecting those addresses. That's if you have a Google for Education account, and then your students have those accounts.
And it looks like, so I think that's all we have for today. But big thank you to Kevin, and if you go tune in, we have a session coming up in 30 minutes. On Google Drive and controlling them in your domain that's presented smart sheet should be a really good one. So you guys have 30 minutes to get work in line, make your way over to that presentation. And don't forget about the form if you want to win anything from the presentation. Thanks so much, Kevin.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Have a good one.